Hey guys, welcome to the video today. Today I'm going to be reacting to a video called The Decline of Blizzard. This is a video that there's a lot of reactions out there already to it, but I sort of felt like I wanted to give my responses and how I felt about it because, to be honest, it is a very accurate video as far as how I feel about the way things have gone with Activision Blizzard and stuff over the past decade or so. And so I'd like to give my reaction to that and sort of how I feel about things as well. Sort of disregarding, this video I think came out about a year ago. So this isn't going to be, 2020, this isn't going to be anything talking about, what's going on right now or anything like that. But it is going to sort of talk about what happened and a lot of it is sort of how I feel, so I just wanted to sort of react to this and move forward with that. So let's go ahead and do that. So let me switch the scene here and pull this up, and we'll go through this and talk about it. Now, one thing I would like to say is this is made by a YouTuber called The Act Man. He does have other videos called The Decline of. So that's a thing too, but he does seem to put a lot of actual research into this before doing it, because this is all accurate. This is all accurate stuff. So let's go ahead into this, and I'll give my reaction, and we'll talk about this as we go.
That is why Warcraft 3 Reforged is so terrible. I wish I never played a Blizzard game ever. It too pains me to hear what
This is great.
Blizzard has become.
This is great.
And you shall have your wish granted. Wait, no! Oh.
No.
Funny. My mind is completely blank now. I could have sworn I was just upset about something, but strange. I don't really sit with me.
Oh, look at all his Halo posters.
Oh boy, is it about video games? The fuck you think it is? Of course we're. What do you wish to tell me, old man? Well, long ago, when video games were much simpler, there existed a company called Blizzard. Over time, Blizzard released several outstanding games that won not only awards, but the hearts of millions. With every new title, Blizzard managed to outdo themselves. They were like Tom Brady, and for many years, Blizzard commanded great respect from gamers everywhere. So what happened? The games were great, right? And they kept making them? I don't believe you can target a single mistake and say this is where it all went wrong. Although Blizzard was well loved by many gamers, at some point something in them began to twist and contort until they were no longer the godlike beings we saw them as. There's got to be more to it than that. Tell me everything. If you insist.
The good times.
The decline of Blizzard is not a story. That was weird. The decline of Blizzard is not a story about a successful business that is now failing, but rather a business that continuously fails its fans. Blizzard was one of my favorite game developers of all time. My love for this company started when I was like 5 years old, and I've given them more than a decade's worth of support. Blizzard.
Yes, me lord.
Nintendo. Bungie. These were the companies I knew of growing up as a kid. All of them were gods in my eyes. Nothing makes me feel old quite like reminiscing on the first time I ever played a real computer game. You know, sitting there with Pajama Sam, Freddy Fish, Math Blaster. Dad bursts into the room, sits me down and says, "Son, you're almost 5 years old, but you've got a lot of manning up to do. It's time for a real game." Hands me StarCraft, and it was like I'm Harry Potter grabbing the wand that was destined for me. I have so many vivid memories of playing the single-player campaign custom games, loving the story, voice acting.
So let me just say, StarCraft is one of those things that I miss playing too. It's sort of just become this bowl of crap. Every time I play StarCraft 2, it seems like there's something that they haven't fixed where, you know, I go to do a match online or something and I just get kicked, or, you know, from the server for didn't actually get kicked by a person, but just, you know, got kicked or whatever. It's just sort of one of those things that's become an afterthought, and that's just not how you should treat a game like StarCraft. StarCraft is amazing, and I guess they tried to sort of relaunch it recently, or I don't know, but it's become horrible. It's terribly unbalanced to try to play it online, at least in my opinion, and there's just a lot of things that need fixed. But StarCraft 2 once was a very fun game to play, and I genuinely enjoyed it, just as I did the original StarCraft with Brood Wars and all that. So I agree.
Now reap the whirlwind.
I could go on and on and on about how awesome these games are, and hopefully I get to make a video about them someday. The storytelling was out of this world, but what really blew me away were the cinematics. That intro to Brood War.
Oh yeah, that intro was incredible. Goosebumps.
I love that intro so much I parodied it in a horribly irrelevant video. StarCraft is so awesome beyond what Blizzard created themselves, and the map editor allowed for unique custom games.
Yes,
that anyone
absolutely.
Could play.
The map editor in the original StarCraft, way better. Way better.
My brother and I somehow got our hands on a copy of
Diablo.
And holy hell, scares me shitless. So bloody and graphic. Later I realized in therapy just how traumatized I was by the Butcher. I can still hear his voice now.
Fresh meat.
Addicting, satisfying, Diablo was a terrifying introduction to RPGs. Years later, Chapow, Reign of Chaos, showed off the power of Blizzard's battle drums. Frozen Throne comes out and it's like, okay, what have I done to deserve this blessing?
Absolutely. Frozen
An
Throne
RTS
was...
with heroes that level up in combat would set the foundation for what World of Warcraft would become.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you know this part of the story.
I'm Mr. T and I'm a Night Elf Mohawk. What's your game?
World of Warcraft took the world by storm.
It did.
Earth and fire, heed my call. Much like RuneScape, WoW became a pop culture phenomenon. I'll never forget the South Park episode where Blizzard and Comedy Central collaborated to make fun of the game.
South Park,
there was so much to love about Blizzard and their community, their identity. You know, just the fun-loving spirit behind everything.
I loved World of Warcraft. In my opinion, World of Warcraft was in its prime. I loved it all the way up until Wrath of the Lich King. In my opinion, that was the peak. I actually did not care for Kata that much. I know that there's a lot of fans that actually did like Cataclysm. I did not. Just like there's a lot of fans that didn't like Mist of Pandaria, but I actually enjoyed that expansion. And just to sort of clarify that, while I enjoyed that expansion, there are some things that WoW and Blizzard continued to do with WoW that I didn't like, that still continued into the expansion. So while I didn't necessarily hate the expansion or dislike the expansion, there were still things that Blizzard was doing that were annoying, that they had been doing since the start of Kata, since that pre-patch for Kata at the end of Wrath. In my opinion, that was the worst. When we lost the talent trees in World of Warcraft, that was when I was like, I don't want to play anymore. I was so mad when it was the sort of thing where you log in all the time and your talents were just reset and you had to figure it all out. it's very annoying when I spend all this time on this talent tree and picking points, and then you just take that and remove it from the game. And this was a lot of the reason I liked the game, was because World of Warcraft, to me, you could be whatever you wanted to be. You could really individualize your character in that game. You could really make that character really awesome, or maybe not so awesome. Maybe that's not what you necessarily wanted to do. Maybe you wanted to do something a little different with your talent tree, you know, like for battlegrounds, or you know, like you know, PvP versus raids and stuff like that. And in my opinion, that just became really stupid and really cookie cutter after those talent trees were removed. And then they sort of slowly started putting some of those talents back in passively. Instead of having somebody pick them, they just started putting them, oh, we'll just throw these things back in the game just randomly, and that way people will stop complaining, and we'll make this talent, this one talent that was all the way at the bottom of the tree that was really obscure that you had to plan out to get, and we'll just passively give it to them. Stuff like that was extremely irritating, and it sort of, I think, led to things further down the line where instead of fixing what's wrong with a patch, fixing what's wrong with a new expansion for the endgame content, we just throw boosts across the board or something like that. And that's just not how you fix things. That is not how you balance a video game. I digress. We'll move on.
Poor Johnny.
Now, even though this video is going to be more on the negative side,
What?
I have a special place in my heart and memory for Blizzard as they were.
Same.
The great people who were a part of it, and the incredible experiences they gave me that I bought. And that's not to say they haven't done any.
So let me clarify really quick before we continue. I realize that I am not somebody that I've streamed WoW, but I've played WoW since Burning Crusade. I'm not going to be one of those people that says, oh, I played since vanilla. No, I haven't played since vanilla. I'm not going to lie and tell you that I have, but I've played since the first expansion, since Burning Crusade. So I do remember what it was like. I do remember the nostalgia, and I truly miss that. So I do have a bit of a voice in this, and it's very frustrating because I was actually sort of planning to be somebody that streams WoW, perhaps eventually, but I was working towards that. Behind the scenes, I was spending a lot of time working on my WoW character, seeing what I wanted to do, if I wanted to do Battlegrounds or whatever, and as well as my Hearthstone stuff. So I was trying to balance what I wanted to do with Blizzard. And everything that's been happening recently, plus all this stuff added on to that in the past, is just, it's a huge pile of shit. It really is a huge pile of shit. And this company has just shit all over us for so long. I'm as funny as that sounds, it's true. This company has shit all over its fans for so long that yeah, I'm done at this point. And I don't know if I want to go back just yet. I want to see a massive change before I even go back a little bit. But we'll talk about that later. I'm not going to get too much into that, but just moving forward, I just wanted to clarify that I do play WoW and all that. So moving
good
forward.
over the last decade. Overwatch was awesome. WoW Classic, an incredible trip down memory lane.
Yeah, World
Look,
Classic
I'm not
was
saying
cool.
Blizzard as a whole is a reprehensible anti-gamer movement led by Anita Sarkeesian, whose sole purpose is to destroy all your favorite franchises and usher in the age of the
So I don't know
Burning
anything about
Legion.
that.
It's
I
not
can't
that
comment on
extreme,
that.
alright? Truth be told, I don't have much good to say about current Blizzard.
Ugh.
And that's where I want to focus.
Yeah.
On where they went wrong. How they destroyed their own reputation and image in my eyes. In the eyes of an old-time fan.
So J. Allen Brack has left the company, so we're not going to
Blizzard
talk
tasted
too much
the
about
cursed
him.
waters of Activision
'Cause he
and
has
merged
left
with them
at
in
this point.
2008. It wasn't a highly controversial move at the time. COD 4 had just released 8 months earlier. Guitar Hero was the hottest fad since the Wii. and they
Yeah,
hadn't
and they
milked
killed it.
any of those franchises to death.
Nope,
Back then,
totally not.
Activision wasn't the
And that's a really good point. That's something that we all saw. That's something that I even talked about with my friends. I went, oh great, Activision. Activision's taking over the majority of Blizzard. Oh great. And look what they did to Guitar Hero. I digress.
same money-grubbing company.
It really
we know
wasn't hard
today.
to see if
Or
you
maybe
were
they
paying
were, and they were
attention.
just really good at hiding it. But none of us had the foresight to predict just
disagree.
how much this would affect
I-
Blizzard's identity,
I disagree.
their culture,
I
and their
disagree.
games.
I was saying it.
Did
I just didn't have a voice
to
back
our
then.
people
We
knowingly.
didn't have you know, streamers and the internet the way streaming is the now. You know, I just didn't have access to have a voice like that back
Our
then.
journey starts in July of 2010.
yeah.
Blizzard had a serious problem. StarCraft 2 absolutely killed it with its reveal, generating massive hype
Did.
and sending shockwaves across all of Korea.
I was very excited.
It had been 12 years since Brood War. Fans could not wait. StarCraft 2 was coming out in
I couldn't
3
wait.
weeks, baby! However, Blizzard's official forums had become filled with vitriol and flame wars. Trolling and community toxicity was spiraling out of control.
Yeah, but that's-
which diluted the discussions about the games themselves. Blizzard
People need to realize that what everyone says on message boards and the internet should be completely disregarded for your own opinion to a game that hasn't even come out yet. Don't ever trust a bunch of online opinions you don't know anything about, especially if you don't know anything about the fan base of that game. Especially if you're like new to the game and all that, to the company. The fan base for WoW, I can tell you, the player base, I should say, is toxic. It wasn't originally at least that bad. At least it wasn't in my experience. It became that way with just the massive amount of people flooding into WoW. In Wrath and all of that. Toward the end of Wrath, that also contributed, I think, to it. But it was such a toxic player-based thing. I remember all the time I would be sitting there and, you know, trying to quest as, like, you know, a level 8 or something like that. And some level 80 would fly in and one-hit me. Come on, man. I'm sitting here trying to play a game. You did the same thing. You flat out were a level 8 too and had to do that even with that character that you're one-hitting me on. So that was how toxic. And even they had to actually build something into the game, you know, where they start putting NPCs just everywhere that are way higher in level than even the level cap at the time, so that way that would stop happening and stuff like that, or put like dismounts for flying, people flying if you shouldn't be in that zone. If it's like a different faction, they started building that stuff into it. That was where the toxic player base was. And I just realized this poor guy's face has been like this the whole time I've been talking. I'm sorry, dude. But that is where the toxic fan base was. And it definitely contributed to it. So a lot of that, people getting online and doing that on message boards, you have to realize that has a lot to do with that player base, that fan base that already is that toxic way. So you can't go by what those people say. Inform your own opinions based on the game footage you see. You, not them, you.
could not have this continue with the launch of StarCraft 2. How do we change this toxic part of our community? One executive asked. Weight loss programs and general hygiene classes, another blurted out. I've got it.
Brain blast!
People won't talk as much shit on the internet when they can be held accountable for it. So let's force everyone who uses our forums to display their real name. Take that, trolls.
Great idea, right?
Oh yes, that's a fantastic idea. Sheer brilliance. How'd you like a raise? Why are you so smart? Suck your dick? Okay, but how do we change this toxic part of our community without spitting in their face? This decision, of course, had the exact reaction you'd expect. The forums were flooded with
Sure.
complaints, and
Sure.
one thread reached over 11,000 replies. Look, I'm not saying let the trolls roam free in the forests of Buckland, but why wouldn't you just get moderators and or create stricter guidelines for using the forums?
There it
Forcing
is.
everyone to reveal personal information would not only discourage people from posting, but also punish people who did nothing wrong.
Blizzard. I'm not letting that guy's face get frozen like that. Blizzard constantly puts a band-aid on something that is not a fix at all. They put a band-aid on it that is the kind of band-aid that says that it's waterproof, and then like the slightest bit of sweat gets on there and it comes off like the first 30 seconds that you're wearing it. When you go to like touch your controller and you start sweating, the band-aid starts peeling off the first 30 seconds you put it on. That's like what Blizzard does when they try to fix a problem in their video games.
This new change would have created more problems than it would solve, so Blizzard scrapped it. But the fact that Real ID was even considered as a possibility, let alone planned to be implemented across the board, was really just such a bizarre, out-of-touch thing to even attempt. And then there's this. I work in a charity. If they see I am a gamer, it could affect my employment prospects. Gamers have been oppressed since 2010, baby. But the outrage seemed to be only temporary. If we only knew what was in store for us down the line.
Oh yeah, here it comes, right? Are you gonna talk about the, oh, not yet, okay.
Blizzard has a long list of battles in the
That's where I'll
courtroom.
do some talking,
None more
too.
famous than Valve Corporation v. Activision Blizzard. This, of course, was over the legal rights to Defense of the Ancients, the most popular custom game for Warcraft 3.
I have.
And
just to
it was a
clarify, I have seen
battle
this
for the
video
ages.
before. I just wanted to
Two of
give
the
you guys
biggest
my
and most
reaction
successful
and
PC
thoughts on this.
developers duking it out. Who will come out on top? From what I understand, Valve worked with Dota developer IceFrog, who was later hired by them, and they wanted to trademark Dota as their intellectual property. Blizzard, of course, didn't want that,
Of course not.
but Valve had already filed a trademark. Now, it's complicated, but for whatever reason, Blizzard and Valve settled out of court, with Valve keeping the rights to Dota All-Stars for commercial purposes, and Blizzard would be able to use it within their own custom games.
Blizzard was so stupid to let all that happen. That was one of their huge mistakes that they made as far as progressing the company forward and proving to us players that they truly want what's best for us and not the money scheme. It was one of those first real big things that sort of showed us, the player base. Well, this is the company's true colors that we're looking at here.
Appears to have been a mutual agreement, but with hindsight, we see just how badly Blizzard was shafted. Nobody thought Dota would turn into the massive esports juggernaut that it is today. But you have to wonder, how could Blizzard just let the magic lamp slip through their hands? Many fans lost faith in Blizzard's ability to retain the rights and provide the games they wanted. World of Warcraft has been Blizzard's main moneymaker for years, with a large, diverse, dedicated community. Throughout the Burning Legion and Wrath of the Lich King expansions, the game only grew in size. Cataclysm was a bit rocky, but it wasn't until May 2012 that Mists of Pandaria released, and a large portion of fans voiced their discontent.
It's true, a bunch of people
This was really
quit.
the turning point for World of Warcraft and what turned many people off of that game.
Yeah.
Blizzard reported that
There it is.
14% of users had canceled their subscriptions, a loss of 13 million players.
That's all right. Just recently, it was 41%. So take that number and dyslexic. 41% of people just stopped playing WoW somewhat recently.
after a brand new expansion that's supposed to build the game up. Shortly after this, Blizzard stopped publicizing their subscription numbers, as showing a steady decline might further exacerbate the decline. There were many controversial changes to WoW over the years. Among many was the Dungeon Finder, an expedited way of finding players for raids and instances. Initially, you had to rally up a group of friends or other players and all commit hours to tackling these.
Yeah, so I'm somebody that didn't mind the Dungeon Finder because that actually sort of did make things a little easier. You know, to be honest, if you wanted to play WoW by yourself, like if you just wanted to get on the game and play, you really couldn't. You really couldn't. You had to find a group of people and get them together to go into a dungeon and do that, and that was what you needed to do to progress the game. Otherwise, you were just making new characters and starting over. And so that was one of those things where I liked that thing that they added. I liked the Dungeon Finder.
These intense dungeons, and that was a lot of fun. It created so much community interaction. Many of WoW's community-oriented features were made more accessible at the cost of player agency. World of Warcraft started to feel less like a world and more of an automated experience. Why leave the main city if you can just hop into a queue and find a raid or instance anyways? In some ways, I'm willing to give Blizzard the benefit of the doubt for WoW's decline in popularity. Keeping a game alive for that long is going to have some speed bumps. And even though many fans have disagreed with the direction Blizzard has taken, at least they finally came out with WoW Classic, and both games seem to be coexisting peacefully.
WoW Classic was cool, and then they went ahead with the Burning Crusade, which you then, of course, paid for to carry your character over and all that. I can't say that I bothered with it. I did play WoW Classic a little bit, and I genuinely enjoyed it. I am somebody that likes the Quest Helper. Back a long time ago, when that was an add-on you had to actually install into the game, you had to put it in the actual directory itself physically, like any other physical add-ons that you download after the fact. So that was actually something I had already previously done. So I'm okay with the Quest Helper, to be honest. So yeah, WoW Classic was a little bit of a thing for me where I was like, oh man, where's this cave? All I'm trying to do is do one quest. I can't find a cave. So that was the sort of thing where I was okay with that. I like Quest Helpers and I like Dungeon Finders. But some of the other things about WoW, you know, like what we discussed with the imbalanced endgame content and just PvP. If you want, you are just right now. If you wanted to play WoW for PvP, you are gonna get. You're gonna get your ass handed to you, basically.
But here's where we get into the real shit.
Or you're gonna pick one of the two really good classes
for it. I vividly remember the launch of Diablo 3 as being one of the single most disappointing game launches of all time, next to MCC.
What?
It was that bad. Not only had basically all of the depth been stripped away from Diablo 2, not only did it feel like a poor man's version of Diablo 2, but it was also just straight up broken.
Yeah, it was.
I waited years for this game, and within 4 hours of gameplay, I was like, this ain't it, Chief. I never looked back. The always online and DRM features were heavily criticized, totally unnecessary for people wanting to just play single player.
They gave me the beta access, and so I was able to do the beta test, and it worked just fine. And then when the game launched, error, I was like, you have got to be kidding me.
To play online anyway, in case you change your mind. Kind of do as it happens, Diablo 3. Sorry, can't hear you over the sound of all my money!
The art direction was criticized, it didn't
feel
feel hellish.
Take out,
gameplay story was awful, excessive amounts of useless gear with 1% of that shit being actually usable. Everything was a bust, it just didn't feel like...
So they did fix it. Like, the gear is you salvage the gear to get materials now, which you then use for other things. So they did balance the game a lot better than it was when it initially came out. Like I said, adventure mode just fixed the game.
Like Diablo.
The sanctity of this place has been fouled.
Diablo 3 was the subject of numerous complaints by fair trade organizations across the world. In France alone, a consumer group reported that there were 1,500 complaints in 4 days. The organization, forgive me, K Choisier, asked Blizzard to, and this is my translation, tell us when the fuck the game is going to be playable. Be straight up, okay? Be a fucking homie. Blizzard responded by saying, there's a sticker on the box that says, internet connection required. Fuck you! The Fair Trade Commission alleged that Blizzard had violated consumer rights laws in South Korea. Hundreds of gamers from there demanded refunds, which Blizzard refused to grant until a month later. In Germany, the Federation of Consumer Organizations threatened legal action against Blizzard for their lack of transparency, with the DRM, consumers' inability to resell the game. And then there was the auction house.
Yeah.
A feature Blizzard implemented to make everyone's gaming experience much better. Right? Wrong! If the gameplay wasn't shallow enough, this fucking atrocity of a feature made it so players could literally put in real money to buy the best gear. This undercut the entire point of playing Diablo 3.
He is speaking in past
tense
tense here.
The quest for gear comes from playing the game, killing
cleverly
monsters,
doesn't
doing
mention
quests.
that they took it
That's
out,
what
but-
makes it fulfilling, not by entering your credit card information. It was one of the earlier and more egregious forms of microtransactions, as Blizzard took a cut of all the profits. It took them 2 years to realize how damaging the auction house was, and would shut it down completely in March of 2014.
So he does mention it. That's
At
my
this
fault.
point, we
Okay.
all started to worry and wonder, how could Blizzard continue to get into legal trouble? How could this company with a stainless track record bungle it so badly with Diablo 3? How could they betray us?
We didn't live up to the high standards that we really set for ourselves.
Sometimes I realize he left the company, but just after some of the things that J. Allen Brack has said on behalf of Blizzard, it is so hard to take what he says as genuine when he talks. So it's not that I have anything personal against the guy. I really don't. I'm not going to speak ill of him. I don't know anything about the guy. So I'm not going to, say he's terrible or anything like that. But it really, just because, especially that whole comment of, you don't want that. You think you want that, but you don't, that whole comment, I realized that didn't upset, it upset a lot of people. It didn't upset everyone, though. Some people don't care about that. That bothered me simply because it is very hard to take what that guy says as genuine now. Now it is very difficult to trust that what that guy says on behalf of the company because of that tone, because of that defensive tone that he took as a spokesperson. Almost like it comes from a place of, well, regardless of what that person's saying to me right now, even if I take it back to the company, it's not going to make a difference. So that's almost how it felt. It almost felt like he was always sort of stuck being just that person that says, well, I don't really have much control here. I'm just the person that's announcing these things, and I'm a face and all that, but I'm going to lash out and be negative, and it's very hard to say that I trust that is anything he says is genuine on behalf of the company. So anyway, let's move into this.
As WoW continued to lose subscribers, fans took it upon themselves to recreate the WoW game they wanted. Many private servers popped up offering different iterations of WoW that were no longer playable.
There was
You
lots
think
of private
when
servers
Burning
popping
Legion
up.
came out that it was the best? Here's your server. Wrath of the Lich King? Here's your server. Vanilla? Here's your server, Nostalrius. It wasn't legal, but it showed a surprising demand for that classic vanilla experience.
They were always better.
At
It
its
was
height,
always more
Nostalrius
fun
had
to play on a
800,000
always-
registered accounts.
always more fun to play on a
Naturally,
private server.
having that many people flock to a service that
Yeah.
you don't operate is bad for business,
Yep.
and in this case,
Copyright infringement.
the solution? Shut it down, boys. They pulled out their Warhammer, sent a cease and desist order, and Nostalrius was shut down. But that only seemed to further agitate the already upset fan base. A petition popped up, begging Blizzard to consider a vanilla version of WoW. It received over 280,000 signatures. They couldn't deny the facts anymore. A lot of people didn't like WoW anymore, and they wanted the old version. And naturally, Blizzard was upset because they felt fans weren't appreciating or understanding the work they were putting in.
Remember that one bug that really pissed you off that we fixed like 2 years ago?
Wow.
Still there in the past.
While it
No
was
pun
within
intended,
their
but
rights
wow.
to terminate the server, for 3.5 years, no alternative was offered by Blizzard. And this was made all the more worse when J. Allen Brack, the new CEO,
And just the tone of the voice. Do you remember that one bug? Do you guys remember that one bug that we fixed that you were complaining about? Blah, 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 blah. It is so. It comes from this place of resentment. It really does. That tone, almost like, oh, these people don't appreciate what we're doing for them. It feels like that. I'm telling you, it feels like that. I don't know how else to say it except that's exactly how it feels, and that's how it feels to other people too. That's how that sounded. I truly wish this guy the best in whatever he does moving on from Blizzard. I hope he does well. I truly do. And I hope he learns from this, because that is not how you talk to people.
answered this question.
Have you ever thought about adding servers for previous expansions as they were then?
Here it comes.
No. And by the way, you don't want to do that either. You think you do, but you don't.
Here's a lesson in...
So, this guy, and let me just point out that this gentleman looked sort of his voice sort of sounded nervous, so he almost sounded nervous asking this, but this guy gets up there and then has the balls to ask this question. When already the panel sort of seems like they're being, you know, a certain way, defensive, and this guy does have the balls to actually ask it, even though he's nervous. And the face, this guy, he's like the face now of Blizzard. This guy, just with so much disdain, no. You know, almost like, how dare you ask such a question? How dare you ask the question that all of the players are thinking, that everybody wants? How dare you? No, how dare you, sir? You know, can you imagine if every single time Hollywood wanted to make a movie, everyone around the world just told them exactly what they wanted from every movie they were going to announce. Oh, do this, this exact thing. Do this, and we will all buy it. We will all love it. They would love that stuff. They would love it. And it's the sort of thing where, why on earth wouldn't you do exactly what your fans want? They've been asking for it for so long. It's obvious they want it. Other people in your company are stepping down and telling you about this sort of thing. And this is the disdain. This is the reaction to these things. If you have a company and you constantly ignore or even berate, but ignore especially the wants of the fans of that particular product that you're selling, if you ignore that, you won't have a product anymore. You just won't. I mean, who are you selling to? That's what I would like to know. Like, who do you think, like Blizzard, who do you think you're selling to when you do this? Do you think that it's beneficial to talk to the player base this way? Do you think that it's beneficial to come out and announce an all-mobile game when you planned to announce Diablo 4? Do you think that's a good idea? Do you think an entire player base an entire company based on making PC games, and people pay tickets to go to BlizzCon, they pay all this money, plane tickets, hotel room, to go to this because they are a PC gamer and they are really serious about this stuff, and you actually have the audacity to waste their time by berating them, defending your stupid idea when they don't like it, and then you don't fix it even after the fact. They went ahead with it. They didn't really change much of what they were doing except to try to boost Diablo 4 and get that into production a little faster, I guess, but they still went ahead with the stupid Diablo Immortal game. I digress because I'm going to keep going. It's ridiculous. The point is, Blizzard, if you're going to sell a product, listen to what people want.
The business practices. Don't tell your consumers what they don't want. Show them why they want what you're working on. Better yet, listen to what your fans are asking for and meet that demand. There's no point in showing this kind of contempt towards your audience unless your goal is to purposely damage your own reputation and goodwill.
Yep, there
and
it
then
is.
J. Allen Brack started talking shit about Classic WoW, how their expansions were so orgasmically good.
Remember when you had to like spam cities and say need a tank, need a tank, need a tank during the Burning Crusade days? You don't remember that because now you just push a button that says go to the dungeon.
Woo!
You would be a fool to want the older, obsolete, inferior version of WoW.
Yes, you'd be
Don't
so-
fucking patronize me.
Yes,
With
thank
the
you.
shutdown, the Nostalrius team went to Blizzard's HQ and gave an 80-page essay on the development of the server. It looked and sounded like Blizzard was going to work with some of the Nostalrius devs to create WoW Classic. That would have been awesome. Bred some goodwill with the community, and these developers would make great representatives of that community. It would inspire faith in the company, but they never actually worked with them, and it really shows the sinful pride of Blizzard. For a long time, they just couldn't accept the fact that fans didn't like the newer expansions and how WoW was changing.
It's true.
But they were the ones out of touch, not the community.
Do you guys not have phones?
Yeah, you guys
Here it
don't
is.
have fun, right?
Here it is. Here's the
BlizzCon is the
complete
annual
defense
convention
of,
held by
of
Blizzard. It's
stupidity.
a massive, exciting event that showcases and promotes all their major franchises. Celebrities make appearances, famous
Conan.
bands close out
Yeah.
the show. It's just epic.
Who's this guy?
This is a dwarf, and
You know what? I prefer a little person.
well, okay.
Many developers have an entire convention at their disposal, and it's just Blizzard's way of
I love
showcasing their power, getting fans hyped to consume product. But in 2018, BlizzCon became the opposite of that.
Yes, it
Hear
did.
ye, fans of Diablo.
You're
Behold,
about to be
the
incredibly
new
disappointed.
experience you've been waiting for. Diablo for Immortal.
So we knew we want to use mobile
knew.
devices as the platform for a new Diablo game. Because nothing brings a family together like slaying demons.
You want to explain yourself? What are you doing?
People were confused, and through a series of hilarious questions in the faces of the developers, the situation started to get out of hand.
So how long has Diablo Immortal been in development, and how is it affecting other Diablo projects?
Okay, so this is the start of the questions that are, I'm sure, very awkward for the developers because their job is to defend this and stick up for the company. They really can't say anything negative, and to be honest, if they did, they could probably just easily get fired. So try not to be too harsh on these guys here. A lot of the time, they really don't necessarily agree with the stuff either. They have a job to do, and they're doing it too. They got bills to pay. So try not to be too hard on them, but definitely be hard on the execs that thought it was an excellent idea to have people pay for plane tickets, BlizzCon tickets, get all dressed up and wear your favorite BlizzCon outfits and dress up as your favorite orc or whatever, and go to the trouble just to show up. Maybe you dressed as a Diablo character or something because you were excited about Diablo 4 and you're waiting, anticipating, and then this bowl of shit is what they announced. I understand everyone was ticked, but try to be nice to these guys because they don't necessarily have anything to do with it.
Well, you may or may not have heard.
I can't imagine the embarrassment of having the crowd of people at your own convention turn against you. But it should showcase just how out of touch you are with them.
In particular, the majority of the games are PC-oriented, with Blizzard, Hearthstone being one of the other mobile games. Why bring it to mobile? Are you trying to reach a new audience of players?
What we remember about BlizzCon 2018 is the charcoaled remains of the PR department.
So, great question, and the reason for that is because Activision's all about money grab, microtransactions, anything. They milked the crap out of Guitar Hero. They milked it so much they started having Guitar Heroes exclusive to certain bands and stuff like that. And this is exactly what they did with the Call of Duty franchise, where they have so many, just so much microtransactions in there now. And that is exactly what they wanted to do with Diablo. They wanted to put it on a phone, microtransaction the crap out of it, and make tons of money. If you look at Activision Blizzard sales right now, and you look at the breakdown, because their financial reports were due out, and you can look at that stuff, it's public information. So if you look at that stuff and you look at the breakdown, a lot of their money came from microtransactions in the Call of Duty games. That is a lot of their income. They had the most profitable year ever during one of the biggest debacles in the entire company's history.
Hey, just was wondering, is this an out-of-season April Fool's joke?
Yeah, it does. This guy's fantastic. Best question.
Blizzard said they were surprised by the negative response.
What?
Now, either they're lying, or they are once again supremely and genuinely out of touch with their community.
Am I so out of touch? No.
Blizzard, your fan base
that's exactly
is mostly
what it was.
a PC gamer demographic. Those are the people who buy tickets to BlizzCon. If you want to make a phone game, make a phone game.
That was great.
But don't expect
That
your
was
fans
great.
to
Bitch, I
give a
came here
shit
for PC
or
games.
not bombard you with questions like,
is there any plans to make this playable on PC, or is this strictly mobile forever?
You get nothing!
Blizzard's ideals and principles were shelved in favor of tapping into the mobile gaming market. If you didn't think they were
It's
selling
funny
out
now.
with
At
the
the
auction
time,
house,
I was so mad.
you sure did now.
Do you guys not have phones?
Yeah, you guys
Oh.
have
Let's
a
go
phone,
to
right?
phone.
You can play your tablet too.
Hey, that really sucked!
Yeah. That was so embarrassing for Blizzard.
Video game development is notorious for how hellish
And
it
it's
can
only
be.
gotten
An
worse.
extremely competitive market filled with stressful
What?
deadlines,
Blizzard, no.
long hours, hectic work weeks, and worst of all, uncertainty of consistent employment. When a game is finished and out the door, many employees have to wonder if they too will be sent out. Well,
true.
Blizzard answered that question by laying off 800 employees in February of 2019.
Right after the
800
holidays.
people with families and lives and an income they need, benefits, insurance, gone. Well, employees, this has been real educational and all, but now it's time to part with that old Activision Blizzard saying.
Get the fuck out of my building!
During this time, Activision Blizzard reported $7.5 billion in sales, $1.8 billion in pure profit. Crack the goddamn champagne bottles,
And
what
then they
an
laid off.
accomplishment. You guys remember the Wii U?
Crapload employees.
Yeah, it was pretty gross and flopping
This is a
super
great
hard back in
comparison.
2014. Nintendo was not looking.
This is an example of what a true leader, and I promised I
Good.
wouldn't pause
And at
his
that
face
point,
on
the
something
boss,
dumb again.
Satoru
It's what a true leader
Iwata,
does.
took a pay cut to keep his employees employed. That was at a time when Nintendo saw a 30% decrease in profits. People look to big companies
He
for
accepted responsibility for the fact that the company wasn't doing well and realized that he had the slack to cut off. Realized that he could afford a pay cut and the rest of his employees could not. That's a leader. That's somebody that knows how to drive the company forward and will always do that. I'm pretty sure somebody else eventually, I'm pretty sure that guy like retired or something like that. I don't remember exactly, but the point is that is a true leader. That's somebody to respect.
guidance.
That's
We
somebody
want to
I would
feel
believe them.
good about where our
What they
money
say.
is going. Is it going to Bobby Kotick's wallet? Or is it going to the people down and dirty on the front lines who sometimes work 70+ hours a week?
Exactly.
Nintendo made a statement about the importance of their employees. And Blizzard did the same. They were just radically opposite statements. I
They
get
were.
that a company may take on more workers than they need over time, and Activision Blizzard might not.
The only way Blizzard pulls themselves out of this now is to completely do a 180. 100%, 120% 180. They cannot absolutely, even the shred of doubt, they cannot make a single big mistake like they have. They just cannot.
Not have been able to find a place for these 800 lost souls. But does that make it any less disheartening for a company to be celebrating its greatest success without sharing that with some of the people who made that happen?
In June 2003, the leaders of the Diablo project left Blizzard North. Feeling like they weren't involved with the big decisions anymore, and unable to guarantee their own employees' compensations and futures, the Blizzard North executives protested. They even went so far as to tender their resignations unless they were heard. Unfortunately, those resignations were accepted.
Yep. And so, thus, you know, we're losing some of our best game developers and stuff like that.
In 2019, perceptions around Blizzard had completely changed. And in October of 2019, a professional Hearthstone player, the martyr Blitzchung, made a political statement in support of the Hong Kong protests while on a live stream.
Nuclear launch detected. Nuclear launch detected.
As Americans, we are naturally sympathetic to those who have had their freedom stripped away unfairly.
They say a man never really knows himself until his freedom's been taken away.
Such as the undisputed case in China. Now, I'm not trying to grandstand, but China isn't exactly the paragon of human rights. Yet Blizzard's monetary ties to China, like many other US companies, they have to tiptoe around China's strict guidelines to release their products in their country. They are very picky and very profitable.
Yeah.
China's actually a free and loving country.
I'm out. Not taking any chances, Blizzard banned his ass. Fuck those new casters. No payment. You're gone. You're banned. Hope you learn your lesson. Speaking out about human rights issues. On our platform. This is not a political platform, except it is. When it's convenient for us. Now, I did a whole video on this subject. Please check that out if you are at all interested. I summarize it a lot more in depth, so I'll be brief. On its own, it's a fucked up decision. But with the George Floyd protests, it also shows the real double standard and hypocrisy. You banned Blitzchung, docked his pay, fired the casters involved, all because he supported a protest in Hong Kong. And you have the gall to post this on Twitter, as if your company represents this statement wholeheartedly.
Yep, you cannot, absolutely cannot, you can't do this. This is so stupid. This is a double standard. It basically means that you want to look good to look good. You want to support what the majority are supporting to look good, to be on the good side of things. You know what I mean? Like when shit hits the fan, suddenly you want to support what everyone else is supporting and jump on the, oh, everybody else is jumping on this bandwagon. And that's just it. That's the double standard. You know, you can't ban somebody for something and then do it yourself. So stupid. And I realize that we're talking about two different countries. The point is, it doesn't matter. It shouldn't matter what country you're talking about. If you are going to have somebody who's a player on your platform and he's just doing the exact same thing you've done right here, there is no difference, absolutely no difference in his mind and those players' mind around the world. There's no difference because you're showing everyone else in every other country that you are a hypocrite and that you will do exactly what you want to do with your platform, but you won't let them do what you just did. That is such a hypocritical statement. Don't do that.
Racism has
Frickin'
no place
Blizzard.
in our society or any society, except Hong Kong and China. Those societies are cool. Nothing's wrong with them. All is well consumed product. Even if you weren't just another company morally grandstanding on these protests and this issue while it's current, it's blatantly hypocritical. Outrage was so astronomical at Blizzard that the United States Congress asked them to reduce the punishment. Motherfucking Congress got involved. You fucked up so badly. Boycotts were gaining traction. Blizzard had yet another PR nightmare on their hands.
Yeah, people are
Base is
boycotting.
under attack.
Our town is under siege. We're being attacked.
We are under attack.
They're destroying our city.
The town is under attack.
Our town is under attack.
Now, they eventually reduced the punishment, but never actually directly addressed the criticism. Only vaguely stated that
we will do better going forward.
So, I'm actually okay with that, just because, as he said earlier, with you know, certain stuff, the way you are and aren't allowed to say certain things with the Chinese government, that actually is a real thing. So you have to be really careful what you say if you want your content viewable in China and stuff like that. I'm not even making that up. He's not making that up. That is a real... They are really, really very strict about their censorship, I guess you could say. So yeah, I keep pausing this guy on his face. I'm so sorry, dude.
JL.
But the point
Brack
is that
deserves a lot of flack.
No.
For how he handled this situation. You're supposed to be a leader. And at this point, Blizzard employees were probably feeling,
Every decision you've made led us from bad to worse.
I agree with that, except for this. I don't agree with him on this. I just think that this is the sort of thing where there really wasn't a way out of this. Blizzard made the decision to react the way they did. And then he knew it was wrong, so he sort of needs to make a statement that it's wrong, but doesn't want to go too far because of that whole Chinese government thing. And I think the idea was that he wanted it to get out to as many people. The idea is that Blizzard wants to make this statement to as many people that can hear it, so that he can regain some of those people maybe boycotting and stuff like that. So he doesn't want to talk too much about the subject, essentially, and then say too much. So then that gets banned, essentially. It's sort of... it would sort of be a pointless act to do if he then apologized and went into all this detail and all that, specifics and stuff, and then they didn't let their media cover that over there, or something like that. it's just the whole thing seems very strange to me to say that he deserves a lot of flack when really it's just a prepared statement apologizing, and that's sort of just what you do. If you make a mistake, you apologize for it and you move on. It was a very general apology. I'm over it. As long as they don't do it again, I'm over it.
Finally, we arrived to present day. Warcraft 3 Reforged.
Yeah.
A dream come true.
Present day, about a year ago. Reforged. This is a game. I played Frozen Throne to death. I loved Maul's TDs. I played everything. I played Element TD to death, Winter Maul to death. I could solo that stuff in my sleep. I love it. And I was so looking forward to making custom maps and having fun with this game.
True for me. You have no idea how badly I wanted to see the custom games and multiplayer revived and to get hyped about it as if Warcraft 3 was a brand new game. This is Blizzard's latest and most damning fuck up of all. With a chance to revitalize one of the most important video games of all time, with a chance to revive the community, get new gamers into it, into RTS games.
That's it. New gamers into RTS games. I miss good RTS games, and Blizzard could do it.
A genre that has been dying. Blizzard left the Warcraft 3 community in a worse place than if they had never touched it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I completely agree.
How can a company actually deteriorate a product's value?
So that was actually something
years later.
To
Warcraft 3 community
note,
in a worse.
This is the only cutscene that actually made it into the final cut of the game when they released it. They promised that we would get full cutscenes and all that. We didn't. We didn't. We got garbage. We got stuff that looked not even better than the original. Just like two normal little NPCs on the map talking to each other, awkwardly turning towards each other. It was all lame, and it wasn't anything like this. This was the only one we got.
Place than if they had never touched it. How can a company actually deteriorate a product's value 18 years later? That's a topic for your business class. Especially since the game still had an active community, and you tore out features and content that they've enjoyed for years. The way Warcraft 3 launched is beyond belief, but illustrates just how far detached.
It wasn't a video game. They released this game and just said, oh, here it is. Guess what? It's out now. Even though, you know, we didn't really finish it. It didn't seem like they even tested the game. The game just ran like garbage. I couldn't even play it. I mean, somewhat recently, I guess it's kind of passable, but that's if you can even, you know, play online anymore, because you just, you know, get randomly kicked
Blizzard
from your game.
has become from not only their...
So you remember that feature where you've played Warcraft 3 and it would sort of do this timeout thing where if somebody maybe had a low latency, it would let them rejoin and then it would continue the game? Doesn't do that anymore. It will just automatically kick you, and half the time the game will crash.
They're past, but they're fans.
We didn't live up to the high standards that we really set for ourselves.
No, you didn't.
No shit.
I speculate it was released in the state it was.
You didn't set any high
because of
standards for
shareholder
yourselves. What are you
pressure.
talking about?
Something that ex-members of Blizzard
there was no high
have said
standard.
is
There wasn't
tampering the way
one.
the company used to operate. Fans were beyond upset, and Warcraft 3 Reforged rightfully takes the crown for lowest review score on Metacritic.
It's true.
There was even a parody website called Warcraft 3 Refunded that just made fun of all the bullshit Blizzard had peddled about this game. I won't go into every detail. I'll link some videos that do if you're interested. But here are the main points. 1. Blatantly misleading marketing led people to believe this classic title would have all its cutscenes remastered and remade. What we got was not that. In fact, Homeboy here actually showcases how the cinematography is less dynamic and interesting than the 2002 version.
I'll hunt you to the ends of the earth if I have to. Do you hear me? To the ends of the earth!
It is there that your true destiny will unfold.
I'll hunt you to the ends of the earth if I have to. Do you hear me? To the ends of the earth!
Yeah.
It's like they didn't even try.
They didn't.
Tons of core features of the game from
There was
2002,
no high standard
2003
that he spoke
were
of.
not re-implemented. Ranked ladders gone. If you play multiplayer, prepare to get ass blasted because there is no ranking system at all. 3. Art direction was butchered. Ew. Gross. What is that? Oh, sick.
Oh yeah, so half the time that you play the game, these icons will simply disappear. Half the stuff in the game doesn't load. And that's to this day. This day. Right now. If you load this game and you do a custom map, sometimes your icons load, sometimes these disappear. It'll just be gray, like this face right here, just be a completely gray image. The entire game struggles with frame rate issues, scaling issues. It is absolutely insane. It's the same crap they did with StarCraft 2. Oh, we're going to have this huge game, we're going to release it, and it's going to be this online game that all these people all over the world are going to play, and we're not going to maximize this game to be good with different frame rates and different scalings. Like, people have different, like, 2K and 1080 monitors and stuff like that. But no, it's not this, we're not going to worry about that. We're just going to say, oh, screw it, and just release it when it's not ready. So that way everyone on the frickin' planet has issues with frame rates and yeah, we're going to fix it. We're going to put a cap on it. We're just going to cap it. And so that way, if there's a real intense battle going on and you're playing an online game on StarCraft 2 or Warcraft 3 Reforged, guess what? If there's a bunch of crap going on the screen, I guarantee you there's a cap, and it's like it's like you're playing back in 1992. That's exactly what it feels like. It's like you're playing back in 1992. You're sitting on, you're sitting there on the I don't know, 486 at the time or whatever you would have had, and you're trying to play a game, and there's just too much going on, and the video, there's not enough video memory to read it, so it just blips going jumping across the screen instead of fluid movement. It's so absurd that we have these huge games and nobody can do that. Nobody can do it. Blizzard doesn't do it, I should say. Blizzard doesn't do it. Nobody at Blizzard wants to be like, oh, let's make it so that there's not a cap, so that way, people with better video cards and better hardware and stuff can see what they need to see and pull that, and people with crappy stuff can, it can detect what they have, so that way they get a cap. They can set their own video settings in their own software. I mean, how hard is it to do this stuff? Plenty of other games do this and maximize their stuff just fine. Blizzard absolutely sucks at it.
Original Warcraft 3 does look extremely dated, but everything is way more colorful and unique, recognizable.
Yes.
4. Classic Warcraft 3 and even StarCraft 1 had a system implemented to prevent people from being dropped from matches. If your connection was interrupted or a little shaky at times, you get like a 45-second countdown timer.
Exactly.
And if your internet was good then, the match would continue.
Yep.
Reforged does not have this.
Being pulled early on, Lawlighter was trying to go for a greedy Ancient of Warcraft, and if this is cancelled, oh damn, that was not a bad BM leaving of the game. This was a disconnect once again. I am almost 100% sure. Lawlighter would never do this.
But he doesn't I don't need the Blood Mage. I don't need you. You're benched.
The game wasn't
like another
a game.
drop.
It wasn't. It
If
was
your
a
internet
bowl of
connection
shit.
isn't perfect, you will be dropped from matches instantly. This happens even in campaign missions, where you get an automatic mission failed screen.
Mission failed. We'll get them next time.
A delayed game is eventually good, but a rushed game is forever bad.
Yes.
Warcraft 3 Reforged represents Blizzard's complete lack of empathy or care for their older games, and the fans who still play them. They just pissed on their own legacy.
They did.
And these problems barely scratched the surface. And now Blizzard is forced to take their sweet time fixing things that never needed to be fixed.
It's
In
true.
the pursuit of money
It's
and
true.
who knows.
So let's back up. That's a really good point. If Blizzard would have simply listened to fans way back, even if we actually don't have to go back way back. We can just go right back to 2018 Diablo Immortal. So let's change that announcement to Diablo 4. Let's change that. Let's get those developers working on Diablo 4. Let's have some gameplay footage for 2018's BlizzCon and make everyone there really happy and really excited. That boosts the stock like overnight for people to jump on and sponsors to jump all over Diablo 4 and want to throw money at it. And that boosts your stock then because of that. And then moving forward, people start having a little more of a positive reaction to that. Oh, then maybe, as we're releasing these expansions in Mists of Pandaria, maybe we'll make things a bit better balanced. Maybe we won't release these monks, and then they just suck. Maybe we won't do that. Maybe we won't release, an expansion after that. And each expansion after that just starts sucking more and more with your patches that don't do anything to fix anything but make things worse and more convoluted. Let's do that instead. The point is, if we back up and we actually do those positive things and check and look at where Blizzard made all of those negative decisions, all those stupid decisions, if we go back even just to 2018 and we replace some of those stupid decisions with better decisions, I guarantee you, if you map that out, you will have a much better outcome as a company than Blizzard right now. They would be in a much better place, even if they still had this lawsuit that they have, which is ridiculous. They shouldn't even have this. But the point is, this is the kind of company they are. They don't care about anything but this. Literally anything but this. Literally anything but this. That's all they care about. Money. That's it. They need to stop doing that. It is not good for business. I understand what you are thinking. Oh, if we put more money in our pockets, well, that's obviously good for business. We want to make business decisions that are good for the company. You develop video games. Video games require a demographic. If your demographic is gone and hates you, you don't have anybody to sell your product to.
Knows what else? Blizzard has lost their identity, being one of the core titans of the industry, and seeing them fall so far, fall lower than the likes of Bungie, is just sad, man. The franchises they used to be known and loved for are not what they once were. Where they used to be dedicated towards the fans, now they are dedicated to the shareholders.
Yes.
It's no longer about what do the fans want, but rather what can we get away with. Blizzard's sins are numerous, attempting to disclose private information of their users to solve an issue that could have been fixed by better moderation, introducing microtransactions that undercut the core design and fun factor of a game people waited 12 years for, allowing a rival company to steal the commercial rights to one of the most popular games of all time, changing WoW into something fans didn't want, failing to provide fans with the experience they had been begging for until an independent group rose up to challenge Blizzard. Completely misreading their audience by building up hype at their convention.
Once again, stupid decision, but terrible
has
response.
never expressed interest in. Countless tone-deaf, out-of-touch responses to valid criticism. tossing out 800 employees like yesterday's trash during their most financially successful year, punishing people who dare speak on important political and social issues, taking a stand with China.
Stupid decision. Okay, response.
Letting internal strife and protests run rampant within the company,
we'll go with
tarnishing their
response.
own legacy with a careless disregard for the state of Warcraft 3.
Stupid decision to pump out a game that isn't a video game at all. It's just a bowl of shit that you can't do anything with. And bad response. They didn't do much. They did some. They did what they had to, essentially, to make it playable. It still sucks. It still sucks. I love Warcraft 3. I want to play Warcraft 3. I want to play Reforged, which, by the way, I can no longer play Warcraft 3 because when I go in and I go to log in and it does that stupid update nonsense, it logs into the same servers for Blizzard, and their updates make my Warcraft 3 suck. So thank you, Blizzard, for shitting all over my original installation of Warcraft 3 while in the process producing a big bowl of shit that nobody wants.
Reforged.
Good job.
These are just the monumental blunders, the ones that have affected me the most. If you want to see current sentiment towards Blizzard, go to their YouTube channel, where the like-dislike ratio is up in the air, and most videos have comments disabled.
Yeah.
And if you take into consideration that Blizzard said they were going dark on Overwatch 2 information, couple that with the Diablo...
So I've heard that pretty much, you know, development's halted at this point on these projects. I'm pretty sure that's what I've heard.
And it just seems like a desperate attempt to shift players' focus from what a shithead company they've been to, whoa, look at these new titles.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
That's just my theory. Blizzard has proven time and time again where their morals
and then they'll be like, oh wow, look at this new title, and they'll pump it out and it's not ready.
So now do you see
just in comparison, do you remember how good, like, StarCraft 2 was really good by its first expansion? Do you remember how freaking good it was, though, and how long it took them to put it out? Remember how long we waited for that game? That's the point. It takes a while. It's okay to do
Blizzard. I do, but what, my son? What happens now? Will Blizzard ever redeem themselves?
Well, this
Will
is
I
all
ever
like
be
Diablo
excited for
music.
another title?
References
That is for
to
them
Diablo.
to decide. We can only wait.
He's supposed to sound like Kane, I think.
But if I were you, Actman, I would let go of hope.
Yeah,
let go
so.
before it leads you astray, like it did to me.
Yeah, so this guy, he's really good at making videos. That was an excellent video. Very accurate information. Good job on the research and everything. Just an awesome video. But there it is, you guys. I just wanted to give you my reaction to that. Look forward to some more reaction videos coming up here pretty soon. I'd like to keep doing these, but for now, that's all I'm reacting to. So thanks for watching. I really appreciate it, and take care, you guys. See you later.